Hello, everyone. I am Rochelle Butler of the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization. We appreciate you joining us, and we are very excited about today's topic. In fact, for the entire month of July across all of our channels, we have been laser focused on all things workforce. Workforce education and training is such an essential part of our economy and foundational to the success of our communities. Today, I want to talk about workforce programs and also highlight one of the agencies out there doing the work to get the next generation of folks ready to take part in that workforce. That agency is Rising Sun. And to help us with this discussion, we are pleased to have Julia Hatton, President and CEO of Rising Sun. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you so much, Rochelle. It's great to be here.
Well, it's lovely to have you. And I just want to say throughout my career, I have heard about Rising Sun and all of the
Aw.
incredible work you all are doing in the community. So
Thank
I'm
you.
really excited that we're getting this opportunity to chit chat
Yeah,
about your
same here.
work. So for those out there, those folks out there who are not familiar with Rising Sun, Julia, would you mind giving us like a really quick summary of what it is you all do?
Sure. Yeah. So Rising Sun is a 25-year-old workforce development nonprofit. We have been delivering programs that advance career pathways and climate resilience at the same time for many, many years. We've been doing it across the Bay Area and the Central Valley. And our programs prioritize young people and people experiencing barriers to employment and try to find ways to advance the clean economy that that really provide real opportunities for people to build sustainable livelihoods at the same time.
So I really love that. But sometimes the only thing that is more important than what we do, it's why we do it, right? So, Julia, you and I have been having some conversations recently in preparation for this discussion. And I think it would be really amazing if you wouldn't mind telling us how Rising Sun came to be, like the Rising Sun origin story, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, I love the Rising Sun origin story. Um, we technically started as an organization in Santa Cruz in 1994. That's when we first became a nonprofit. We were, at that time, I'd call us a renewable energy education center. But at some point, we had staff who were teaching a class on climate change at Berkeley High. This was like 2000. And the students in that class decided that they didn't want to just learn about how the climate was impacting them and their communities. They wanted to go out and do something about it and make a difference. So, as usual, youth were leading the way. And they created this program where they'd go to their friends and neighbors' houses, take out the old inefficient lighting, which at that time was like incandescent light bulbs, replace it with more efficient measures like CFLs, also do some work on water waste. Um, and that became what is now our Climate Careers program that is running all across Central California, really, from the Bay all the way that mid section. So yeah, Rising Sun has always been about um, that direct provision of resources to help people save energy, money, water, and things like that, but also providing real opportunities for young people to lead, young people to do meaningful work in climate, young people being introduced to all the opportunities in that sector. And then, of course, we developed additional workforce and training programs through that time since then.
That's amazing. And the youth, they really do lead the way.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Um,
they're the ones who are impacted, right? They're the ones who are bearing the brunt of some of these things. And so yeah, it's been a powerful thing to see them continue to lead the way there.
awesome. Yeah. And I want to touch really quickly on another segment of the population,
Sure.
is underserved communities. So
Yeah.
the SJVCEO as an organization, we focus most of our resources on lifting underserved communities.
Yeah.
We have tons of reasons for doing that. But I want to focus on the perspective from Rising Sun's point of view. Why is it so important to create these career pathways and these avenues for education, particularly in underserved communities?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's both the economic reality, and then there's the climate reality. Both of those things are tied together, and then I think both of those things, um, are the challenges we see in these communities are rooted in histories of oppression and systemic disparity and all of those things that we know about. So, all of our youth come from low-income households. The majority are youth of color. And I think in a lot of cases, they just aren't, I mean, a lot of people just aren't aware of the options in the green sector, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have been sort of systematically locked out of opportunities in the sector. And so I think it's about just introducing young people to what's out there, especially youth who might not have had that exposure or opportunity before for a variety of different reasons. Um, what's really cool, I think, is when you see a young person realize that they can make money and earn a living and build a career on something that they care about that actually makes change in their own communities and that makes change for things they care about, like climate, and seeing that light bulb go off, like, oh my God, I didn't know I could get paid for this. It's like, oh, this is what our world needs, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, again, as a nonprofit like SJVCEO, we're really committed to working with communities that are hit first and worst by climate change, by economic disparity. And so that's who we prioritize.
That's amazing. I do want to touch really quickly on green jobs, just to clarify for everyone. That's basically jobs that are energy efficiency or renewable energy focused. Um, just, for discussion's sake, we
Yeah,
have this little joke amongst colleagues in the industry. I've been in the industry for a while now, so
yeah,
and the joke is that people rarely like go to school, right, to get a
yeah,
degree to do these energy efficiency jobs.
yeah.
Personally, I'm an accountant by trade.
Yeah, I was an English major, so yeah.
So, yeah, and so, a lot of times people just kind of fall into this work and that's that. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that there are barriers to obtaining some of these jobs. And so, in your experience doing this work, what are some of those barriers to entry into green jobs?
Yeah, I mean, so one thing just to, for the conversation is that we also have tried really hard and we think it's really important to define green jobs quite broadly. And, I personally think that there's no job now or in the future that isn't going to be impacted by climate change or that doesn't have some sort of effect or impacted by or opportunity to, build a more resilient future. And like you're saying, like there are degrees and certifications and trainings you can get that can take you directly into some specific green career pathways, solar installation, right? Like things that you think of more traditionally as green jobs. But then there's also jobs like the one you have and the one that I have. And,
Right.
you can go into comms, you can go into policy, you can go into politics, you can go into research. There are so many different opportunities. So part of what we do with our climate careers program is that youth will work with us and come onto our payroll and provide these free greenhouse calls, like I was talking about in their communities for the summer. But then we place them into paid externships at other organizations or companies that are doing climate work. And again, that can be like local government, it can be a research lab, it can be a for-profit, company, it can be science building, whatever it is. And the reason we do that is to expose young people to all the different opportunities and let folks sort of find their way that way and provide those introductions and connections and things like that. Um, the other barriers that we see, so one of the other things Rising Sun does is run a pre-apprenticeship for the building and construction trades. So getting adults who have barriers to employment, having giving them opportunities to access careers in construction and join an apprenticeship and all those different things and sort of build our infrastructure, including our climate infrastructure.
Mhm.
And there we see sort of a different set of barriers. We see things like transportation is really tough. You need to be, a lot of those jobs, you need to be able to physically get to your job every day.
Right.
The hours can be really challenging. You know, sometimes the first day is, or sometimes you're starting at 4 a.m., you know, 2 counties
Mhm.
away, right? So, there are just lots of different childcare and
Yeah.
people's ability to access quality childcare and afford quality childcare is another barrier. So some of the things we do at Rising Sun is try to address those barriers within while people are with us during training,
Hmm.
provide supportive services, wraparound services, mental health support, substance use disorder counseling, whatever it is, so that when they're ready to look for a job, some of those barriers they've already broken.
Thank you so much for talking about, the barriers. Are there any other barriers that you would like to expand on, Julia?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are some of the individual and systemic barriers that people experience. I think the other thing that potentially has been a barrier in green jobs in general has been the pay. And I think, like, especially if you look at maybe some of the more like what you think of as a green job right away as the like residential energy efficiency, residential solar, weatherization, things like that. I
Mhm.
think we've lifted these opportunities up as, you know, there's a lot of demand in this sector. It's green work, it's good. But then if you look at the data, those jobs have historically paid really low and been sort of below industry standard or have been subject to, um, you know, more opportunities for worker exploitation and things like that. So, one of the things that we think is really important is trying to make sure that green jobs are good jobs, and that when we're investing in climate infrastructure and in climate programs, we're also building in things like job quality standards and labor standards to make sure that these are jobs that people actually can live on and that people want, you know, and that then in turn helps with employee retention and the quality of the work done and the persistence of the energy savings and all of those different pieces too.
Yeah, that is very important. People have to be able to eat and,
Yeah,
live and yeah. So, I do want to take a couple seconds and talk about the specific programs because the programs are
sure.
what drive what we do, right?
Yeah.
So can you give us kind of like a high level overview of some of the main programs that you're currently implementing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, our longest running program is Climate Careers. It's a youth employment program that provides free energy efficiency and water conservation services to local households, particularly households in underserved communities. This is a program that we've been running across the Bay Area and in San Joaquin County for a very long time. And we're really excited to be partnering with you all to be bringing it into more of the Central Valley and Central California in general. So soon, these things that I'm talking about are going to be available to more and more folks. So with Climate Careers, we employ local youth from low-income households. We provide them with paid training, things like climate change, climate justice, but also like how to do a job and how to do a job well, soft skills stuff. And then they spend the summer working for us as energy specialists, providing these free energy efficiency and water conservation services to local homes and their own communities. And that service is called a greenhouse call. So if you sign up for a greenhouse call, a team of two young people who've been trained in the greenhouse call and all these other things will come to your home. They'll do a whole home assessment. You can be a renter, you can be a homeowner, it can be multifamily, single family. Um, and they'll do a whole assessment of your home, a walkthrough with you, look for energy and water saving opportunities. Then they'll do some direct replacements of measures or items that are using a lot of energy and water and replace them with better, more efficient, more technologically advanced models. And then they'll sit down with you and have a conversation, do some education about other resources that are out there, ways to save more money on your electric bill and things like that. Um, and then they'll do that, all across their community the whole summer. So then within climate careers, once they're done with that, we'll place them into these paid externships where they're doing other types of climate work or working with other types of climate organizations. So it could be, um, it could be a utility company, it could be a local government, it could be a nonprofit, but other organizations that are in this sort of broadly defined climate space. And so they're continuing to earn a paycheck, but also getting more career exposure and building their networks. And yeah, it's been a great program to be part of. We're seeing that um, we're actually able to look at employment data and earnings data for youth who've participated in this program and see that it makes a difference in a young person's employment trajectory and the wages that they're able to earn. And we can kind of see that play out long term, which is really exciting, right? Obviously, you want to be able to see that kind of direct benefit, that direct economic benefit for the young people we work with.
That's
So that's
amazing.
climate careers.
Yeah.
And then we have Opportunity Build, which has also been around a long time. It's been a pre-apprenticeship for the union building and construction trades since 2014.
Okay.
And within Opportunity Build, we prepare adults who are experiencing barriers to employment, just things in their lives that make it hard to get a job and keep a job, prepare them for these careers in construction where there's really clear advancement pathways. There's sort of a good wages, great benefits, all kind of built in, right? Um, and so people come to our building in Oakland. Um, we are running four cohorts a year, one of which is an all-women's cohort. Um, and they're getting the classroom training, they're getting the hands-on training, and we're building all kinds of stuff in the parking lot. Um, they're getting networking opportunities. Um, and then we work with them for a full year after they graduate. So making sure that they have access to the jobs that they want and are able to get into those and succeed in those in advance. So that program has also been a really sort of amazing thing to get to be part of and to see the impact of.
Oh yeah. I endlessly rewarding, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap everything up, I just want to say it's been such a pleasure talking with you, Julia. And
Rochelle.
thanks. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. So, I just want to give you an opportunity. Do you have any final thoughts? Or I always like to say, if our listeners don't remember anything else about what we talked about, what would you like to leave them with?
Oh gosh, oh, it's hard. Well, maybe I'll say a few things and people can pick and choose. So you can learn more about us on our website, risingsunopp.org. You can learn about our programs. You can sign up for a greenhouse call and save money on your energy and water bill. If you are a young person or the parent of a young person or the family member of a young person who's looking to get a green job, we are going to be hiring in the Central Valley this fall. And then I think those are sort of the like rising sun specific things that I would say. And then I think the last thing I want to really hit home is just how important it is to lift up economic equity and climate resilience together. And I think that if we're doing it right, there's no reason that those two can't happen together and coexist and drive each other forward. And one major way to do that is by making sure that these green jobs are accessible to people who haven't had these opportunities and that they pay well and that they offer good benefits and ultimately it's a win-win-win, right, for people, planet, um, and prosperity in general. So yeah, that's the thing that's really become clear to me in my 13 years with this organization.
Awesome. Well, I would like to thank everyone out there for listening or watching. Julia, thank you again for being with us. I would like to let everyone out there listening know that all of the resources that we've discussed today will be linked below this video, including Rising Sun's website and links directly to if you want to learn more about climate careers. If anyone has any follow-up questions, we would absolutely love to hear from you. You can connect with SJVCEO. You can connect with us on any one of a whole bunch of platforms. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can visit our website at SJVCEO, where we have tons of other resources, including our monthly playlists. Thanks so much, everyone, and until next time.